caught in Lucknow busted. UP ATS nabs 2 Al-Qaeda terrorists from Lucknow after raids. Arrested terrorists have links to Kashmir. Sources say that 1 pressure cooker bomb and firearms have been recovered. One of the accused is identified as Shahid. Umar al-Mandi was the handling. In fact, they were handling these terrorists from Pakistan-Afghanistan border. Cops allege that these terrorists burned something before the arrest. UP ATS is in touch currently with Jammu and Kashmir police as well. Cops suspect that more terrorists are currently still in hiding within the city. Search operations underway.
तो गुड्डू साहब का है, उसके बगल में जो सिराज साहब का है, उसके बगल में जो रियाज साहब का है।
ये शाहिद कौन है?
ये पहला घर जो है, यहाँ कमांडो खड़े हुए हैं, ये शाहिद साहब हैं।
तो शाहिद के अलावा घर में कौन कौन रहता है?
शाहिद के अलावा और कोई नहीं रहता है, इन्हीं का परिवार रहता है। उसके बगल में
घर में कौन कौन है?
इनके 2 बच्चे हैं, मियां बीबी हैं।
ये लोग कब से रह रहे हैं यहाँ पर?
सर, हम यहाँ तो 12 साल के करीब थे, अपना बिजनेस करते थे, तब से हम जानते हैं, लेकिन उससे पहले 20 साल से रह रहे हैं।
यहाँ पे कोई बाहर के लोग आ रहे थे, कुछ ऐसी गतिविधियाँ, कुछ बाहर से लोग आते थे रात बिरात मिलने के लिए, क्या कुछ?
सर, हमारे जानकारी में नहीं है, ना मैंने ये देखा है।
Let me quickly cut across to Samat joining us on the phone line. Samat, do take us through exactly the background of these alleged terrorists who've been nabbed currently. We believe that they've found pressure cooker bomb, firearms. How long have they been staying in the locality, and what kind of connections do they have with terrorists along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border?
Well, the raid is still on in Lucknow, and what we are getting to know that they are planning some backdoor blast in Lucknow and Uttar Pradesh as well. This is connected, and so far police have been identified that raid is on IGA. They told India today was that they had planned to bring blast in Lucknow.
की वजह से सिक्योरिटी रीजन की वजह से सबको पीछे खदेड़ा, काफी बड़ी संख्या में।
Right, we're going to try and connect Samat back again, but here's the information coming in on terrorists who've been cracked down on, alleged links that they have with terrorists along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. Meanwhile, multiple raids by the National Investigation Agency in Jammu and Kashmir, the joint operation by NIA, IB, RAW, along with Jammu and Kashmir Police and CRPF, carried out raids in at least 10 locations of Anantnag, Awantipora, Baramulla and Srinagar, busting at least, in fact, currently what we hear is that they've busted a new ISIS module. The collaborated raids led to the agencies to the doorstep of a man called Omar Bhatt in South Kashmir. Sources have told India Today that Omar is now the face of printing editions of Voice of Hind, a radical magazine with intent to instigate Muslims, especially the youth, against the system itself. Now, 5 people have been arrested. Questioning is currently being done from... In fact, at least 9 people are currently being interrogated. A case of new ISIS module and terror funding was also registered 10 days ago, but suspects were put under surveillance for the last 3 months. Last year itself, in March, a Kashmiri couple were rounded up by the Delhi police and arrested on charges of links with Khosrasan module. In fact, for fueling anti-CAA protests, the magazine then stopped printing but started to publish again a few months later. This is when RAW activated its sources.
Yes, NIA has raided the multiple locations across the Kashmir Valley. These raids started from the South Kashmir's Achbal area, where 4 locations were raided by the NIA and assisted by the Jammu and Kashmir police as well as by the CRPF. And then these raids were also conducted in the Srinagar, in Baramulla and in the Awantipora. So far what we are getting from the sources that the raids are underway, in fact, in Baramulla, and 10 people had been so far detained, 5 had been arrested. Now the NIA will be questioning these people who are in the detention, and the things which had been seized by the NIA, they will be scrutinized by the NIA, and finally it is expected that probably some more arrests may be carried out by the NIA, as this investigation has started for last many months, and the main focus of the NIA is the publication of one of the magazines of the ISIS here in the India, and also the recruitment process and recruitment cell which is working online across the country and different parts of the world.
Meanwhile, intensifying crackdown against the elements linked to terrorists and separatist groups, the Jammu and Kashmir administration has now sacked the sons of Hizbul Mujahideen chief Syed Salahuddin from their services. Salahuddin's sons Syed Ahmed, Shakil and Shahid Yusuf were sacked over charges of raising, receiving, collecting and transferring funds through Hawala for terror activities of the Hizbul Mujahideen. In addition to Salahuddin's sons, 9 other government employees have also been sacked, which includes 2 Jammu and Kashmir policemen for their alleged involvement in terror and anti-national activities. The employees have now been sacked on the recommendations of a designated committee for scrutinizing within the Union territory.
अच्छा कदम लिया गया है, मैं इसकी सराहना करता हूं, क्योंकि इन लोगों को जब तक चिन्हित नहीं किया जाएगा तब तक ये पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं है कि मिलिटेंसी को समाप्त किया जाए। ये तो एक शुरुआत है, इसके अलावा और भी लोगों को चिन्हित करके जल्द से जल्द उन पर कार्रवाई हो।
Now, as the battle between Taliban and Afghanistan inches closer towards Kandahar, Afghanistan, India has now pulled out around 50 diplomats and security personnel from its consulate in Kandahar, Afghanistan, in view of deteriorating security situation and the Taliban gaining control of new areas around Kandahar. A statement from the MEA said that the decision has been taken due to intense fighting near Kandahar city. The statement further emphasized that this is a temporary measure until situation stabilizes and the consulate will continue to operate through local staff members. Arrangements are currently being made to ensure continued delivery of visa and consular services through our Indian embassy in Kabul. Meanwhile, in a move to curb population explosion in Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has unveiled his government's population policy for 2021 to 2030. On the occasion of World Population Day, the population explosion has become quite a concern, a key issue of the Yogi Adityanath government ahead of next year's assembly polls. While unveiling the policy, Yogi emphasized on the needs to control population. He further said that rising population is affecting growth. He also linked population to growth. In fact, he linked it to poverty extensively, saying that India must work for the benefit of the society. The state of Uttar Pradesh currently is suffering with a population crisis. Another important thing Yogi has raised here is the gap between 2 children. This comes a day after a big row was erupted over a proposed draft bill on population control that was prepared by UP's Law Commission. The proposed draft focuses on 2 children and provides incentives. It also says that one having more than 2 children will be barred from applying to any government job, along with barring from fighting polls as well. The State Law Commission has uploaded its draft on the official website and has sought public opinion by the 19th of July.
कि बढ़ती हुई जनसंख्या विकास में कहीं न कहीं बाधक हो सकती है और इस पर अनेक मंचों से पिछले 4 दशकों से निरंतर चर्चा चल रही है। जिन देशों ने और जिन राज्यों ने इस संबंध में अपेक्षित प्रयास किए, उसके वहां सकारात्मक परिणाम भी सामने देखने को मिले हैं। अवेयरनेस, अगर 2 बच्चों के बीच में अंतराल नहीं होगा तो स्वाभाविक रूप से उनके पोषण पर असर पड़ेगा। शिशु मृत्यु दर में और मातृ मृत्यु दर को नियंत्रित करने में अत्यंत कठिनाई होगी और उन स्थितियों में हम लोगों को जिन लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करना है, जिसमें कि नेशनल एवरेज से भी उत्तर प्रदेश पीछे है, यद्यपि पिछले 4-5 वर्षों में जो प्रयास हुए हैं उसके अच्छे परिणाम भी आए हैं, लेकिन अभी और भी अच्छे प्रयास किए जाने की आवश्यकता, और ज्यादा प्रयास किए जाने की आवश्यकता है। विश्व जनसंख्या दिवस के अवसर पर आज उत्तर प्रदेश की जनसंख्या नीति 2021 से 30 यह जारी हो रही है। इसको जारी करते हुए मुझे प्रसन्नता की अनुभूति हो रही है कि काफी तथ्यों के साथ समाज के विभिन्न तबकों को ध्यान में रख करके इस जनसंख्या नीति को लागू करने का कार्य आज प्रदेश सरकार कर रही है।
जनसंख्या नियंत्रण ये देश की भी और वक्त की भी जरूरत है। और मुझे लगता है कि अगर कोई राज्य उत्तर प्रदेश इस दिशा में जागरूकता के लिए लोगों को तैयार करने के लिए काम कर रहा है तो इसका स्वागत होना चाहिए। एक बार कांग्रेस पार्टी ने बहुत भोंडे ढंग से और भद्दे ढंग से इसके प्रयास किए थे जो कि फेल हुए।
ये विषय पूरा राष्ट्रीय विषय है। उत्तर प्रदेश में इस समय चुनाव होने जा रहे हैं और इस उत्तर प्रदेश के चुनाव में ये फिर से विभेद पैदा करना चाहते हैं। ये बिल चुनाव की संध्या बेला पर क्यों लाया जा रहा है?
Now, religious gurus appear divided over the issue of population control. Let's take a listen. Reactions coming in on that.
अनजाने में हिंदू इसमें ज़्यादा टारगेट हो रहा है, क्योंकि जब वो होगा तो हिंदू तो ऐसे ही कम बच्चे पैदा करता है और भी उन पे कानूनन रूप से रुक जाएंगे और वो रुकेंगे नहीं। मैं ये चाहता हूँ जनसंख्या नियंत्रण कानून पूरे देश पे लागू हो और उत्तर प्रदेश और जो आसाम में भी हुआ। अब आसाम में देखिए क्या किया उन्होंने, कह दिया कि सवर्णों पर लगा दिया, खास तौर से सामान्य वर्ग पे, कि वो करेंगे तो उनको सुविधाएं नहीं मिलेगी। बाकी उसमें भी आरक्षण कोटा दे दिया तो उससे तो सवर्ण ऐसे ही विलुप्त हो जाएंगे, तो हिंदू कमजोर होगा ना। हम ये चाहते हैं कि राष्ट्रीय स्तर ऐसी ठोस और कठोर नीति बने कि हर व्यक्ति के लिए अनिवार्य हो जाए।
जो जनसंख्या का विषय है, मेरी ऐसी मान्यता है, मैं समझता हूँ कि इसमें किसी प्रकार से जाति और समुदाय और संप्रदाय का भेद नहीं होना चाहिए। चाहे वो जैन हो, बौद्ध हो, हिंदू हो, सिख हो, मुस्लिम हो, ईसाई हो, जो भी कानून आए सबके लिए एक समान आना चाहिए। ऐसा ना हो कि बहुसंख्यक समाज के लिए तो कानून लागू हो जाए और कुछ ऐसे लोग हों जो इस कानून का पालन ना करें। जो भी बिल सरकार लाएगी हम सब लोग उसका समर्थन करेंगे, हम सब लोग सरकार के साथ हैं।
I think it's a problem not with educated urban population, but I think it's more to do with rural India and also who are economically backward. No, that's why we need to focus more on that level. It's not just one blanket solution that you just bring in a policy and it's going to stop at that level. Because the more you educate people, the more they become aware. Automatically it becomes voluntary.
Now, with COVID cases deteriorating, many states are currently easing curbs. As restrictions ease, temperatures soar, tourists throng to hills, throw all caution to the wind by not following COVID safety norms in place. The new trend now is revenge traveling. And this has caused quite some concern, which may also ignite the third wave. It's already triggered fears of the third wave. People were seen gathering at the Bushi Dam in Lonavala. Most of them were seen without masks, flouting social distancing norms, enjoying the weather, scenery, without following protocols. Himachal Pradesh government has now expressed grave concern over this huge influx of tourists. Tourists continue to flock to Manali, blatantly violating all COVID norms.
हाँ, मैंने अपने ये रखा है मास्क और यहाँ पे सब ना फोटो खींच रहे हैं बराबर, तो फोटो के टाइम तो मास्क पे अच्छा नहीं लगता ना, तो जब वहाँ पे जाते हैं तो मास्क लगा लेते हैं और इधर ऐसे
हम लोग हमारे सारे प्रिकॉशंस ले रहे हैं, जैसे कि बार बार सैनिटाइज करते रहना, एंड यहाँ पे भी हम लोग प्रिकॉशंस ले ही रहे हैं। अब बाकी लोगों को तो हम कुछ बोल नहीं सकते, बट हमारे तरफ से हम मास्क भी वेयर कर रहे हैं, सो फाइन।
2 साल से सब कुछ बंद है, सब लोग परेशान है काफ़ी। अभी थोड़ा बहुत लॉकडाउन में रीओपनिंग हुआ है, अनलॉक हुआ है, सो काफ़ी फ़र्क है। सब लोग घूमने आ रहे हैं। सेल्फ प्रिकॉशन लेना ज़रूरी है, बट एट द सेम टाइम घर में भी कितने दिन बैठेंगे सब।
Now let's take a quick look at what Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami had to say on revenge tourism.
बहुत दिनों के बाद जो है, चूँकि वैसे तो 4 धाम यात्रा बंद है और पर्यटक जो हमारे यहाँ आ रहे हैं उनके लिए हमने RT-PCR अनिवार्य रूप से कर रखा है कि RT-PCR के बिना जो है वहाँ पर प्रवेश नहीं मिलेगा। लेकिन जो बीच में कुछ चीज़ें ऐसी आई हैं कि अचानक खुलने के कारण से केवल बाहर के लोग नहीं, वो देहरादून और उसके आसपास के लोग भी जो है वो कैंपटी फॉल और मसूरी पहुँच गए थे, तो उसके कारण से अत्यधिक ज़्यादा एकदम से जो बाहर से आने वाले संख्या नहीं थी, वो उत्तराखंड के अंदर की संख्या थी। लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी हम लोगों ने जो है अभी नई गाइडलाइन जारी कर दी है कि अब जो भी होटल हैं हमारे वो 50% जो है क्षमता के आधार पर ही चलाए जाएंगे और कोई भी अगर बिना मास्क के घूमेगा तो उसका चालान पहले से हो रहा है और मास्क भी वितरित किए जा रहे हैं। हम लोगों का पूरा ध्यान है कि किसी भी तरीके से लोगों को बचाया जाए।
Now, as COVID cases in the country continue to dip, many states started to relax norms. People have started to take advantage of those curbs being lifted. Most of them, and across states where we're seeing a rise in tourism, people there completely defying COVID protocols in place. Quite some horrific visuals coming to fore, where we see people blatantly violating all COVID protocols that are in place. No masks, no social distancing. COVIDiots there seen without wearing masks, flocking to religious places. In fact, in Mathura, we're seeing a sight that was quite scary. A similar sight was also witnessed at the famous Sarojini Nagar market in the national capital, where a huge crowd gathered for shopping. There was mad rush also seen at the vaccination centre in MP's Khargone. A huge crowd gathered outside one such vaccination centre, and in the district it was, in fact, an inoculation drive was currently underway there too. We saw people literally touching the other while they stand in close proximity. Of course, we do know that some places there isn't a luxury of social distance. Here we're seeing a classic example of an inoculation drive going all wrong, while you have authorities there who are supposed to be ideally keeping a check. People queuing up to get the jab, but flouting all COVID norms in place while they wait for the vaccine. Now, once hailed for its containment efforts of coronavirus cases, now faces a new challenge at hand. On Saturday, Kerala reported over 14,000 cases with 108 fatalities, the highest among all the states in Kerala. In fact, it still continues to account for at least 30% of the total COVID-19 cases in the country currently. Despite the heavy caseload, Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan downplayed the crisis, saying everything is under control. There is no need to worry. Here's our report that tells you more.
Kerala is once again facing a COVID crisis. On Saturday, the state registered 14,087 cases and 108 fatalities, the highest the country, contributing to over 30% of the active caseload in India. But CM Pinarayi Vijayan sought to allay fears amid the surge in cases.
കേരളത്തിൽ എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് രോഗികളുടെ എണ്ണത്തിൽ കുറവ് വരാത്തതെന്ന് പലരും ആശങ്കപ്പെടുന്നുണ്ട്. പൊതുജനാരോഗ്യ തത്വങ്ങളനുസരിച്ച് പരിശോധിച്ചാൽ ഇതിൽ അത്ഭുതപ്പെടേണ്ടതില്ല. അമിതമായി ഭയപ്പെടേണ്ടതില്ലെന്നും കാര്യങ്ങൾ നിയന്ത്രണത്തിലാണെന്നും ആത്മവിശ്വാസത്തോടെ നമുക്ക് പറയാൻ കഴിയും.
Kerala's Health Minister Veena George also showed confidence in the state's health infrastructure.
We have always tried to keep the positive cases below the medical capacity threshold, and also we have in Kerala more number of susceptible persons, so there are high chances that more people will be getting infected these days, but we are trying our best and our preventive measures are quite we have proved that our system is quite successful.
Despite these assurances, the reality on the ground is worrisome. Malappuram, Thrissur, Kozhikode, Ernakulam, Kollam and Palakkad remain the worst affected districts in Kerala, reporting over 1,000 cases in a day. Positivity rate is over 10% in the state, which means 10 out of 100 people who are getting tested for COVID-19 are turning out to be positive, while the average positivity rate of the country is over 2%.
The population of Kerala, you cannot compare with many other states, and you can call it a mini Dharavi. The entire Kerala can be called as a mini Dharavi, and we have very high population, and also the people traveling. The mobility of the people is very high. It's across the borders, and also inside the state. Also, the mobility of the people it's very high.
Once hailed for its containment efforts of coronavirus cases, Kerala has now a new challenge on its hands as the threat of a third wave looms large.
On Saturday, Kerala reported over 14,000 fresh COVID-19 cases, the largest among all states in the country. Kerala also accounts for almost 30% of the total active case load in India. State's TPR is also a major cause of concern, which remains to be at 10.66%. Having said this, Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has assured that the situation is well under control of state's medical capacity. With camera person Tinku Rajshekharan, Gopikrishnan, Thiruvananthapuram for India Today.
Now, after witnessing a drop in daily COVID-19 cases, Tamil Nadu government has now announced relaxations in COVID curbs, but the lockdown will continue to remain in place until 19th of July. As per the new guidelines now, shops and restaurants are allowed to open until 9 p.m. from Monday. Interstate buses will not be allowed to operate, but bus services to Puducherry have now been allowed. Meanwhile, bars, pubs, swimming pools, theatres will continue to remain shut. No social, political, public gatherings will be allowed. Recreational activities, schools, colleges will remain shut. The state continues to witness a dip in COVID-19 cases. Tamil Nadu has now reported 3,867 cases on 4th of July alone, which has now come down to 2,914 cases on the 10th of July. However, Tamil Nadu is still reporting the highest numbers of COVID cases after Maharashtra and Kerala, and the central government has cautioned the state against lowering its guard.
हमारे देश में 90 जिले ऐसे हैं जहां पर से देश के 80% केसेस आ रहे हैं, जिससे यह पता लगता है कि जो एक लिमिटेड एरिया, लिमिटेड ज्योग्राफी में अब केसेस का स्प्रेड नोट किया जा रहा है और जरूरी है कि वहां पर हम फोकस्ड अटेंशन के थ्रू इंटेंसिव कंटेनमेंट पर कार्य करें.
A quick preview on what's allowed, what's not allowed in Tamil Nadu. Let me take you through what's allowed. Shops and restaurants in Tamil Nadu currently are allowed. They're allowed till 9 p.m. Bus services now currently will be allowed as well in Tamil Nadu. Of course, we're looking at in Puducherry, taking a quick look, tea and snack shops which will be allowed until 9 p.m. We're looking at least 50% capacity at max that will be allowed to, in fact, occupy. 50% will only be restricted. Now, taking you through on what's not allowed, schools and colleges will not be allowed to open up. Social, political, religious, sports gatherings will not be allowed to open. Swimming pools, of course, along with stadiums, will still remain shut. Theatres, multiplexes will still continue to be shut for a little longer. Now, the founder of Virgin Galactic, Richard Branson, along with his crew, will now be flying to space today at 6:30 p.m. from New Mexico. The exciting part here is the inclusion of Indian origin astronaut Sirisha Bandla in the crew, who will become the second Indian-born woman to go to space after Kalpana Chawla. Sirisha, who originally hails from Andhra Pradesh, has been handpicked to be part of the 6-member team for the Virgin Galactic space mission. Now, Bandla's role will be of a researcher on the mission. In fact, Sirisha Bandla was born in Andhra Pradesh's Guntur and grew up in Houston, Texas. Bandla holds an MBA degree from Georgetown University, as well as began her career at Virgin Galactic in 2015. Her extended family is happy about the impending space feat by Sirisha.
I'm very thankful to Virgin Galactic for having selected her to be along with her in the crew, and she is first in Telugu, both the states, and I am very happy. We are very proud of her.
I've had dreams about this flight almost every night. I'm one of those people that dreams in vivid color every night, and ever since I got the news that I'm going to space, I've been dreaming about it. So I'm just so excited, and it's clearly